Welcome. I'm Richard Haasnoot, and this is a special in-depth wisdom series for the wisdom-inspired life. And in this episode, I'm going to provide you with some wisdom and perspective on how to deal with failure when it inevitably comes into your life, and it does. In addition, I will share with you how failure can actually be a major life positive. Want to know that? Well, let's get into it. Let me give you an overview of the problem we're going to try and solve here and the benefits you're going to receive. Unfortunately, none of us seem to be immune to failure of some kind in our life on an unfortunately fairly regular basis, big and small. Failure can be difficult in so many ways, ranging from emotional to physical to financial stress and pain. All very real. Often failure arrives in our life and we fear that it might be persistent and even crippling long term. That gets your attention. Well, in this episode, I'm going to provide you with some wisdom about how you can deal with failure. And that wisdom comes from Paramahansa Yogananda, a God-realized enlightened avatar. And here's the quote you definitely want to remember. Quote, "The season of failure is the best time for sowing the seeds of success." Again, the season of failure is the best time for sowing the seeds of success. Yogananda is not only a God-realized enlightened avatar, passed in 1952, founded the Self-Realization Fellowship, he's my beloved guru, and he's left us with many, many great books of wisdom. So, let's talk a little bit about the personal side of failure. The season of failure can be turned into the season of success when we learn more about ourselves in a failure situation. In most cases, this learning is greater and more powerful than we achieve virtually any other way. And that's because failure has this way of grabbing our attention, dominating everything in our lives at particular points of time. We can convert it into the season of success when we ask ourselves some simple questions. Like, when we're experiencing a failure, say, what can I learn from this? Please be guaranteed that you can always learn from failure. Always. Please understand that as a given. So asking the question, how can I learn from this, is critical. Next, how can I use what I learned to create success? How could I have done this differently if I had it to do over again using what I've learned? The answers to these questions highlight your pathway to future success. This is not theory. There are I'm going to give you a very public example and my own personal. One of the great personal examples is Steve Jobs. I think we both all know that he founded Apple in 1976. But then in 1985, he experienced profound and painful failure. He was fired from Apple, the company he created. Just think about that for a moment. The great Steve Jobs, fired in 1985. Now, did he just go run away and hide and just wasn't able to overcome it? No. Following 1985, after he'd been fired, he went off and founded a company that is now worth billions of dollars. It's called Pixar, which was later purchased by Disney. What a dramatic breakthrough company success he founded after the failure of being fired. Well, then in 1997, he was rehired by Apple. And with that success, did he produce even more success? You bet. The names and products are on the lips of every person. The Apple Store, the App Store, the iMac, the iPad, the iPod, the iPhone, iTunes Store, and more. Okay? A man who experienced profound failure turned it into a great success. I've had a very extensive business career at major companies like Procter & Gamble and the Gallo Winery. Multiple times, my first effort to do something has failed. I love learning, so I immediately learned from what had happened, and then often my second and third efforts almost always produced major business and life successes. Because I've had failure in business, I've had failures in life. Picked myself up. What can I learn from this? So my call to action to you is, how can you use this wisdom to make your life better? Use the wisdom right now to address a recent or current experience that you consider to be a failure. Sit down, reflect, and even consider asking the universal God for help. Start converting these insights into action to create your next success by asking those questions. What can I learn from this? How can I use what I learned to create success? How could I have done this differently if I had to do over again? And remember this quote from Paramahansa Yogananda: "The season of failure is the best time for sowing the seeds of success." I hope this has helped you. My goal, as I said, is to help you live more of a wisdom-inspired life. Thank you very much for watching this, and I look forward to reconnecting with you in the next episode in this new series.